This is absolutely the perfect shoe for me right at this time, because when it comes to the Kyrie line, I'm having a bit of a switch. Two halves playing off against each other. I was always talking about these right here, the Iket 5s. I thought they were the high point in the line, and then the 6s came after that, and now the 7s. And I was kind of like, yeah, they're great shoes, good to review, give you guys some hints about what's coming up, blah, blah, blah. But then these guys today, I realized for the first time since those Iket Kyrie 5s, the Concepts collaboration, that this is me thinking, I'm looking forward to what's coming next. I'm like, I wonder what they're going to do. What's Nike and Kyrie going to do with their next iteration of their shoe? And I'm like, wow, I'm actually looking forward to what's coming next. It's great to look at shoes, Air Force Ones and LeBrons and all that, and you're just kind of like, interested in what's going on with those shoes and looking at the latest releases, but actually looking forward, not just looking at what's in front of you, but thinking, you know what, I'm really interested to see what they do next. And this shoe is perfect for that, because it's that flip from sort of just being straight interested in what's coming out to actually looking forward to more than what's coming out, wondering what's coming out next, thinking about the shoes more than you would normally think about other shoes. And that's perfect for this, because there's this big split down these guys, and it's a half and half shoe. I couldn't help but think of Batman's enemy, Two-Face, and that split between the two halves of the shoe, which we've definitely got going on here. So what I'm going to do for you guys today is take you through that split, especially the unique element of it that I don't know if everybody's catching. I think a lot of people are like, yeah, half and half shoes, but they're not actually getting the unique bit about it that I haven't seen in many other shoes before. But then on top of that, there's also some great hits and a great story behind the shoe. So we'll get into all that today as we take a look at the upcoming release of the Kyrie 7 Pale Ivory. This is the Tokyo About 23 Sneaker channel. Tokyo About 23 Sneaker channelです。毎日アップするので毎日見てください。And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today in the spotlight is an upcoming release of a Nike Kyrie 7. And like I said, those Iket 5s, loved that shoe, high point for me. But then now the 7s, they're hitting their stride, and I'm like really impressed with what they're coming out with. And these guys are top of the pile for me. Were they Chinese New Year's? I think they were Chinese New Year's. I'll chuck up a picture of them. If I've got the name wrong, at least you can look at what I'm talking about. And I thought they were a great shoe with some really unique hits, especially that lateral side swoosh on there. But I'm saying these guys are taking it to the next level. These are a stunning pair of shoes regardless. Doesn't matter what you're looking at them. They'll have great crossover appeal for the street as well as the core, and there's a great story behind them. So we're going to get into all that, have a look at these guys and find out all the hits on there. So the first thing I want to do is to take you to that point that I think maybe people aren't really catching. So I think what I'll do it on the outsole. Let's bring up the outsole first, so you've got that idea, that half and half, and it's a great looking outsole for a start. And I really dig the fact that down the middle of the outsole there's this wavy line. It's not like a straight line split half and half. It's got a kind of wavy black on one side where it's the kind of mathematical academic side of the shoe, and we'll get into that later with the heel, and then colourful on the other side, light blues and pinks, which is the more playful side of the shoe. So that's kind of just setting the tone for you guys out there to understand that these shoes have a half and half feel. And you're probably thinking, I either already know that, or that's not really that big news. Plenty of shoes come in half and half. But the next place to go look at to really get that half and half, and to explain why I think this is a next level thing, is to go over to the heels. Now I can't talk about the half and half before we talk about the patterning on the heel, because it's a crazy little piece of patterning on the heel, extremely detailed in that two parts. So basically what we're going for is like a kind of black and white side of the shoe. It does have certain hits of color, but basically black and white, or ivory if you really want to be precise. And then the other side of the shoe is much more colorful, and they represent that academic and that playful. And if we zoom in on one of the heels, you can see that playing off of each other, the academic side in black and white, with some mathematical figures and details and diagrams and equations and stuff like that, and then across to the other half of the heel, and it's now all colorful, and it's more random, and there's not really any direction to the patterning on it. It's not like specific things, it's just a sort of playful feel to the shoe. And again, that's that half and half feel that we were talking about on the outsole. And again, I'm not expecting you to be surprised by that. But what I am expecting you to be surprised by is if we pan it back and look at both shoes, what's really unusual is normally what these shoes would do if they were half and half is they would mirror each other. So both shoes on the lateral side would have the same design and the same coloring and the same colorway in the lateral side, and then on the medial on the inside you'd have the same. So in the case of these guys, I was expecting the medial side to be colorful, playful, light blues and pinks, and then the lateral side, the outside edge of the shoe, to be black and white. But you can see clearly in this heel shot here that the lateral side on one shoe is black and white and academic, and on that shoe its medial side is playful. But then if you look at the other shoe, it's the other way around, where the lateral side is academic and the medial side is playful. And that's super rare when it comes to shoes. It does happen sometimes, you know, when they of course, thousands and millions of shoes out there. So people would do this before, but this is the first time I've seen it done so nicely. And I think it's a major feature that people are just really not looking out for. They're expecting the half and half, but they don't realize that it's not a mirror image where you have both lateral sides in one way and both medial sides in the other. So hopefully I've explained that clearly. Hopefully the picture on the green screen here shows you how the lateral side on one matches the medial side on the other, and then the lateral side on that shoe matches the medial side on the other. So it's a more crossover effect. So a really neat detail, really neat way to design the shoes, and a big plus if you're asking me. So so now I can't really talk about it and say like this right here. I can't say that's the lateral side because it's a lateral side, because the other lateral side looks different. But I don't know how I'll work it out, but just bear with me when I talk about the colorway and the structure that you've got on this particular lateral side here, because it's not the same on the other shoe. And I think what we're looking at is the left shoe, so the right shoe's lateral side is colorful. But let's try and get this sort of sorted without getting into too much detail on that. So lateral side, we're on the blacks and the ivory whites. Beautiful sort of texture to the shoe. You've got towards the front foot where the midsole comes up, those sort of shark teeth effects going on there, and directly above them you've got two really chunky eyelets that connect the laces together. And in amongst all of that black and ivory white, there's just a hint, it's like a whisper of pink kind of hovering through the shoe, and it's very, very difficult to put your finger on where it comes in because it's so discreet and hidden in there. And then you come back from all of that to the swoosh, an outline of a swoosh, not solid filled, but you look at that outline, you can see how detailed it is. It's got a sort of marbling effect going on there. So it's a really sleek, elegant lateral side to this shoe, and that black and white or black and ivory academic side to this shoe is represented in this way. And then we look at the other side. In the case of this shoe, it's the medial side, but it could be different, would be different on the other shoe. And now the more playful side comes out, and the colors are much more vibrant and much more obvious. That whisper of pink that I talked about on the other side of the shoe is gone now, and it's really in your face. You can see that down on the lace stays at the bottom. You see the pink there is much more vibrant, and then you come back from that and we look at the outline swoosh again. It's lost some of its sort of 3D and kind of power to it. It's much more two-dimensional, just an outline and a single color in light blue, but definitely still much more playful than the kind of elegant side to the other half of the shoe. So hopefully you've got that idea from looking at those two sides, you know, the differences between the two shoes. But I just think it's really, really beautiful. I think they're a really nice shoe, and they've got that balance really greatly, nicely done between the academic side and the playful side. The last place to go up, which isn't really half and half is at the top of the tongues, where you see the branding up there with the Kyrie branding at the top there. And if I remember rightly, on both shoes it's something like a light blue branding that also has a hit of yellow in there. Can't remember what that extra color is, but you'll be able to see it on the green screen back here and get an idea of what the tongues are doing there. And then if we follow that back and have a look into the insole, you see some of the detailing there, which I think leans more to the academic than the playful, especially with that kind of gold feel to it. It's like a gold thread feel to the branding on the insole, so it's got that elegant sort of feel that goes with the academic side of the shoe more, I would say, in my opinion, than with the playful side of the shoe. So that's it. That's a look at these shoes today. Hopefully you guys really got what I was talking about. It's kind of hard to explain in words about that two halves, but not being sort of a mirror image of each other. But the pictures on the green screen hopefully did justice, and you kind of worked out what I was talking about. But for me, this is now me moving into a phase with the Kyrie shoes. I'm wondering what's coming next. I'm looking forward to the colorways and the structure that they're going to come out with next, which is a nice moment for me to flip that out with this line of shoes that I've followed for a long time. And instead of it just being like interested in what's actually already come out, it's like, I wonder what they're going to do next. And I truly do. And with that being said, it's time to just wrap this one up and finish up this video. So I'm just going to chip off. Thank you guys for checking out the content. I do truly appreciate it. Hopefully you've got that information out of this shoe. I should mention May 1st is the drop date, and it's the first May shoe I've done for the channel this year. So the time is trucking on as we get through this year, and hopefully eventually we'll see the end of pandemic sometime soon. Just FYI, they are really not picking up the pace in vaccines here in Japan. They're very, very slow compared to the rest of the world. But fingers crossed that'll all, get sorted out, and we'll get towards summer and maybe even into autumn, but we'll start to see some normalcy pretty soon. With that being said, it's just time for me to chip off. Thank you guys for checking out the content. I'll say the same thing that I say at the end of every single video, which is that I do this every single day. And that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.